Hey everyone, Boardgame Brody here with Meeple Mountain. I have a new copy of this expansion to Space Explorers. It's Space Explorers Age of Ambition by 25th Century Games. And before we start, I'd like to ask you to like this video and more importantly, subscribe to our channel. It's something super easy for you to do and it really helps us out here on the channel. Alright, and like usual, let's get right into this new expansion. And if you're familiar with Space Explorers, it's an open drafting set collection game where players compete in the golden age of astronomics, also known as the space race. The game knows there is more than just being the first to achieve an event, and it will require strategy in the form of collecting specific cards to win in this game. Space Explorers Age of Ambition lets players change small aspects of the game by using different modules included in this expansion. I will go over these modules here soon, but there are 7 included in this box, and you can combine up to 3 of them at a time to recreate a fresh gameplay experience while holding on to what you like about this game. The expansion also includes rules for solo play. So what are we waiting for? Module 1, Space Power. For a long time, it was the United States and the Soviet Union competing in the space race, but in 1965, France claimed its spot as the third space power, launching its own satellite. Japan soon followed in 1970. In this module, each country's unique approach is represented with space power tokens. Each player will take a random space power board, and space power tokens are separated into 4 stacks face down of each color. One of each token is randomly placed face up on the first 4 specialist cards. During the game, a specialist card can never have more than 1 space power token on it, and there should always be 1 of each token on these cards throughout the game. During the game, when you recruit a specialist that has 1 of these tokens, you will take it as well, and if a token doesn't match your own space power, you will need to provide an additional research icon shown on the token. But when you're recruiting a specialist with your own token, you do not need to provide the additional research icon. In either case, keep the token and place it on your space power board. You will reveal a new specialist card in its place like normal, and then you will take a token of the same color from its stack, and that player will choose one of the available cards without a token on it to place it on. If you recruited a specialist card with no token on it, you may in that turn move the token of your matching space power from the card that it's currently on and place it on any available cards without a token. If you take a specialist card with a token on it up into your hand, then you will put that token back on any available card that you would like to place it on. So now going back to your board, when you place your token, if it's matching your color, you can place it in one of these 3 spaces one at a time, starting with the first one and going to the third. There is a slot space above and a square space here. The first time you place these tokens, you'll place the first one here on the first slot, the second one on the second slot, and the last one on the last slot. Anytime during your turn, you can perform that additional action, which are one-time actions, by moving the token from the slot down to the square. Each nation has different actions and consists of taking research tokens from other players, getting a free specialist card, reorganizing cards or tokens, or other special actions giving you extra benefits. These actions can't be performed again unless it gets reset and a new token is placed above to do that action again. If you get additional tokens of your own color and your 3 actions are occupied, place this token in the collaboration section here. Any number of tokens can be placed here. Also, when you have a token in this area, you can at any time during your turn return all 3 tokens from the development section to this pile, even if it still hasn't been used and is in the slot area still. If you're at this point, then for the rest of the game, you can place your tokens in either the collaboration section or one of the 3 empty development sections. The collaboration section scores differently for each nation as well, but knowing how it scores can help you with your strategy during the game. This last space is the international section that you will place all the tokens that don't match your own color here. You will score points for sets of different colors. Let's move on to module number 2, prominent leaders. During the space race, certain politicians were able to provide government support in the hopes of improving their race status. Generals helped with human and technical resources in exchange for advanced technology. More research led scientists to continue their work, but each of these people all had a contribution to make space travel important. In this module, during setup, your shuffled leader cards are placed in a deck next to your specialist deck. Instead of revealing 6 specialist cards, you will reveal 5 specialist and 2 leader cards face up in the center. So now, in this module, there are always 7 cards in the center. And whenever a new card comes out, the player can choose to flip over either a specialist or a leader card. They get a pick. Whenever a rule applies to specialists, it also applies to leaders. They are the same except for the fact that they can add a leader card to any division in their hub. Each leader will have 1 or 2 skills that take on the color of that division. These leaders contribute to their skills to competing projects, for recruiting new specialists, and for final scoring for specialists with an asterisk. Specialist skills in a division do not help reduce the recruitment of a leader, so you will have to provide all the research icons shown on the leader card. Now, getting these new leaders are all cool and all, but they come with commitments. And this is listed on the top of its card, and you will accept this commitment when you recruit that leader. At the end of the game, you will score points only if you have fulfilled your commitments to that leader shown in the green flag, and if you don't fulfill the commitment, then you gain the penalty shown in the red flag. Commitments might consist of having a certain number of cards in your hand at the end of the game, or points for having a certain number of specific type of cards, things like that. Module 3, Impeding Crises. Space exploration has never been easy, and crises often have occurred. This includes the lack of qualified personnel, unforeseen repairs while in orbit, or sometimes explosions at launch, which throws the space program into chaos. This module is about overcoming these crises. Setup is done by separating the 2 types of cards, taking 3 of each, placing 3 with 1 crisis icon on them, on top of the 3 cards with the double crisis icons on them. The top card is then flipped out, and the crisis marker is placed on the top of that track on that card. The next card is flipped out and is considered the upcoming crisis. You will progress the marker on the crisis card when a player completes a project, took at least 1 specialist card into their hand, or recruited a 3rd specialist in your division, in that division. The marker can only move 1 space per turn max. The current crisis is over when the marker gets to the space with the listed number of players playing in the game. It will then be moved to the top of the card that was in the upcoming crisis spot, the new crisis. A new card is then flipped out so players can start to prepare for it. When playing with Module 3, the game ends with either the normal end conditions, but also when the last of the 6 crisis cards are discarded, the game would then be over as well. Module number 4, Strategic Goals. The space race wasn't just exploration in the sky, but scientific advancements in a variety of fields. Ideas that seemed unbelievable just a couple years prior were being realized. In this module, each division of your hub is assigned a goal. Achieving these goals will allow your employees to make a tremendous breakthrough in their field. During setup, players will take the 8 gold tokens of a space power and randomly choose 5 of them to use for the game. These gold tokens are then placed above each division of your hub. At any point you complete the goal, you will then turn it face down. Completing your goal will score you 1 point for each specialist in that division. These goals consist of completing a number of projects, having a certain amount of research tokens, having specific types of specialists, having a certain number of cards in your hand, having a number of matching skill types, having a certain number of specialists with an asterisk, having specialists in each division, or having your top specialist card in that division with at least 5 research icons. Module number 5, Executive Talents. Project managers play a vital role in success of an organization. As head of your hub, you will need to strategically utilize your unique talents to help carry out your plans. During setup in this module, 8 talent tiles are placed face down, and each player takes 2 of them and chooses one of those to place face up by their hub. You now have a special ability to use throughout the game that is unique to you and only you. These talents consist of talents in leadership, coordination, organization, communication, administrative talent, in optimization, in negotiation, or in planning. Module number 6, Remarkable Projects. A successful launch is not only a great triumph, but also the beginning of the next phase of work. It's important to take the lessons that you've learned from previous missions to make improvements on the next. In this module, you will combine the remarkable project tiles with the base game project tiles according to how many players are playing in the game. Remarkable projects function the same way as normal projects, but the points awarded for remarkable projects are dependent on specific conditions. Module number 7, Higher Directives. Good leaders point their team to focus on key tasks to achieve success in specific areas. This sometimes requires extra time by you, the experienced project manager. In this module, each player starts with a directive token, and this is a new type of research token, but this token doesn't provide a research icon in itself. Instead, it duplicates another one. And those are the 7 modules included in this game. There is a bunch of variation to add to the base game, and you can find your favorites by playing each of these individually and then adding up to 3 of them to play together while playing the game. This expansion will either help you find a new favorite way to play the game or give you ways to change the game each time you play to keep you on your toes. Each module can change strategies, so if you play this game with someone who does the same strategy every single time, get this expansion and add in some new modules. That way you can teach them how to think on their toes. Anyways, these new modules are nice. It refreshes the game. I hope it brings more people back to this great game that we saw a while ago. And ultimately, you need to keep competing in the space race with your family and friends in Space Explorers Age of Ambition, a new expansion for its base game by 25th Century Games. Again, this is Board Game Brody, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.